Nobody expected this. Not the fans, not the media, and not even the giants of world football. But behind the glowing stadium lights, behind the screaming crowds, something darker was happening. A storm was building, slowly, silently, until it exploded in front of the whole world. This is the truth they tried to hide. The truth buried under contracts, pressure, and impossible expectations. A truth that turned a hero into a villain, and a rising star into a monster. Every pass, every goal, every celebration was hiding pain. Every mistake was breaking him from the inside. And every headline was pushing him closer to the edge. Tonight, we open the chapter nobody wants to read. The chapter that exposes football's biggest lie, because this isn't just a story of talent. This is a story of fire, betrayal, and the monster the football world accidentally created. Nobody knew it at the time. But the moment he stepped onto the pitch, Europe felt something shift. It wasn't just a debut, it was the birth of a storm. A storm wearing the number on his back, carrying the weight of a nation, and walking with the confidence of someone who didn't come to take part. He came to take over. From the very first touch, the crowd felt it. A spark, a roar, a silence that lasted half a second too long, as if the world held its breath. Because deep inside, everyone watching knew, this kid is different. Not normal, not ordinary, something else, something bigger. He wasn't supposed to dominate grown men. He wasn't supposed to control matches like a veteran. He wasn't supposed to walk into one of the biggest clubs on earth and act like the stadium already belonged to him. But he did, and every week, the noise grew. Commentators praised him. Fans worshipped him. Clubs feared him. And rivals began whispering behind closed doors, how do we stop him? But what the world didn't see was the pressure that followed him everywhere. The cameras never turned off. The headlines never stopped. The expectations grew heavier with every goal he scored, every record he broke. Every night he carried the badge on his chest like armor, behind the celebrations, behind the smiles, behind the viral moments, was a young man fighting a battle nobody could see. A battle against the weight of becoming the face of a club. A battle against the hate disguised as criticism. A battle against the fear of losing everything he worked for. This wasn't just a rise. This wasn't just success. This was a transformation. A boy turning into a warrior turning into a leader, and a leader turning into something Europe had never seen before. Because legends are not born. They're built through fire, pressure, and moments that break ordinary players. This is where it all began. The rise that shook Europe and created the monster the football world wasn't ready for. The world saw the highlights, the goals, the celebrations, the viral runs that made defenders look invisible. But what the world didn't see was the pressure building like a silent storm behind the scenes. Every interview, every training session, every mistake was being watched, judged, and magnified. He wasn't just playing football anymore. He was carrying a club, carrying a fan base, carrying expectations that were never meant for someone his age. And with every match, the noise grew louder. When he scored, people said it wasn't enough. When he assisted, they said it should have been a goal. And when he had a bad night, even a single bad touch, the headlines exploded like fireworks in the dark. Overrated, overhyped, finished before he even starts. Words that cut deeper than injuries. Words that followed him even when the camera stopped rolling. Inside the dressing room, he could feel the tension. Older players questioned his confidence. Opponents targeted him physically. And managers demanded perfection, because anything less would be failure. But the truth was simple. He was still just a kid, forced to live the life of a superstar. And sometimes, late at night, when the world finally went quiet, he wondered, how long can I keep carrying all of this? Yet every morning, he woke up and chose to fight again. Not because he wanted fame, not because he wanted the spotlight, but because the pitch was the only place where he felt free, where the pressure faded, where the noise disappeared, and where he could breathe again. This wasn't just football anymore. This was survival, and the world had no idea how close he was to breaking. Every great rise has a breaking point, and his came on a night nobody expected, a night that was supposed to be another chapter in his unstoppable rise, but instead, it exposed the cracks he had been hiding for months. The stadium was full. The lights were brighter than ever, but his mind felt dark, heavy, crowded. Something inside him wasn't right, and for the first time, the world was about to see it. It started with a missed pass. A simple one. The kind he could make with his eyes closed. The crowd gasped. Commentators paused. Opponents smirked, and he felt the weight of 1,000 eyes burning into his skin. Then came the second mistake. A lost duel. A moment of hesitation. A flash of frustration in his eyes that the cameras caught instantly, and within seconds. Social media exploded. He's finished. He can't handle pressure. Overrated star finally exposed. He heard the whispers from the stands. He felt the judgment from his teammates. And he knew, for the first time, that the world wasn't cheering for him anymore. They were waiting for him to fall. And then came the moment that changed everything. A counterattack. A sprint he couldn't win. A goal conceded because he wasn't fast enough, strong enough, focused enough. He froze. Hands on his knees, staring at the ground, trying to hold back everything collapsing inside him. The camera zoomed in on his face and captured the exact second his confidence shattered. For the rest of the match, he wasn't playing football. He was fighting panic. Fighting the noise in his head. Fighting the realization that perfection wasn't possible and the world didn't care. When the final whistle blew, he didn't feel defeated. He felt exposed. That night, he walked down the tunnel knowing one thing: he was no longer rising. He was surviving, and the monster the world created was about to awaken. After that night, he could have disappeared. Many players do. They collapse under the weight of criticism, pressure, and expectations too heavy for a single person to carry. But he wasn't like the others. Because sometimes a breakdown isn't the end. It's the beginning of something far more dangerous. For days, he stayed silent. No interviews, no posts, no smiles. Just work. While the world mocked him, he trained harder. While analysts said he was finished, he sharpened every weakness. While fans doubted him, he rebuilt himself, piece by piece, away from the cameras, away from the noise, away from the chaos that almost destroyed him. Every sprint became a message. Every shot became a promise. Every drop of sweat became a reminder of who he truly was. And then came the return. The stadium wasn't cheering at first. They weren't sure what version of him they were about to see. The broken one, or the monster forged in darkness. He stepped onto the pitch with a different look in his eyes. Calm, focused, dangerous. This time, there were no mistakes. No hesitation. No fear. His first touch silenced the crowd. His first run brought defenders to panic. And his first goal, a thunder strike into the top corner, wasn't just a celebration. It was a warning. He didn't come back to prove people wrong. He came back to prove himself right. To show the world who he truly is, a warrior shaped by pressure, strengthened by pain, and reborn in the fire of criticism. This wasn't a comeback. This was a transformation. And now, the football world wasn't just watching him. It was fearing him. In the end, his story wasn't just about goals, trophies, or highlight reels. It was about something far deeper. Something football rarely talks about: the cost of becoming great. Because behind every superstar is a human being fighting battles no one sees. And he fought more than most. He fought pressure. He fought criticism. He fought expectations so heavy they could crush entire careers. But most importantly, he fought himself, his doubts, his fears, his moments of weakness. Yet here he stands today, not just stronger, but transformed. Not the boy who walked into football with dreams, but the man who survived everything thrown at him. And now, when he steps onto the pitch, the world doesn't just see talent. They see fire. They see hunger. They see a player who learned to rise through darkness, not run from it. The same world that mocked him now celebrates him. The same headlines that tried to break him now praise him. The same fans who doubted him now scream his name with pride. But he knows the truth. The real truth. They didn't create him. Their pressure didn't shape him. Their hate didn't define him. He built himself. He saved himself. He became his own redemption. And that's why his journey matters. Because he proved something every young player needs to hear. You don't become great by avoiding struggle. You become great by facing it, owning it, and rising from it stronger than ever. This is not the end of his story. This is just the prologue. The football world thought they understood him. But they've only seen the beginning. The monster they created is now unstoppable.